Okay, guys, welcome back to Let's Get Freaky. Super excited to welcome our next guest today. We are joined by Charlie. How are you, brother? Welcome.
I'm okay, Tommy, mate. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate the invite.
Oh, you're very welcome, man. I'm excited to have you. It is so hot today, brother. I don't know what it's like in up north where you are, but it
To
is.
be fair, it's not too bad at the moment. I'd say we're about 17.
Oh,
It's
okay.
supposed to hit about 22 to 24 around about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. So
Yeah.
hopefully it'll be a bit nicer, get the gardens done later.
Yeah, man. I mean, I shouldn't complain because we need some nice weather every now and again.
Yeah.
But man, this room, uh, I need some aircon, brother. But anyway, I'm gonna stop moaning. I'm excited to have you, man. You're from Midnight Paranormal.
Yes.
Is that are you the boss? Are you the in charge of the whole
I'll say
operation?
me and the wife, Roxanne. I'd probably say I deal with more of the side of it, and then
Hmm.
Roxanne is there taking the credit.
Yeah.
You could be killing me now.
I
No,
hope she's not
to be
listening. I
fair,
hope she's.
Roxanne's the very much logical thinking behind it.
Mhm. Yeah.
Whereas I'm like the one who'll do stuff, go and try and get locations and stuff. Roxanne's like the mentality. She's very good with the thinking and the wording and stuff like that. Whereas I can just kind of jump 10 miles an hour. So
Yeah.
she kind of reins me in a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we've also got Katie on the team. We've known Katie now for God, the good best part of 9 years. So we've been doing obviously the paranormal for 10 years. We were part of another team first. Um, about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, we kind of went our own separate ways due to circumstances, but I won't go into that. And we then developed what it was, Charlie and Rock's Paranormal at first. We thought me and Roxanne we'd do it as a couple. We just go out and team share and get new locations and stuff like that, and just go investigating, doing what we love to do because we both work full time. So it's a bit of a hobby for us. It's not like our main source of like trying to get a business out of it. It was more of let's do it with friends. Let's get out there and just enjoy it.
Mhm.
And then we had Katie come on board, and then we thought it was only right to change the name then because Charlie and Rock's Paranormal is just about me and Roxanne. Whereas we had Katie, then it was come together. We make it as a team, so that's where we come up with Midnight Paranormal from.
Awesome, man. It's an awesome name. I like it, brother.
I weren't
You.
too sure what to go with at first. We did put a date together of when paranormal was first made in the dictionary. And I thought, oh, we do it that way, but it just didn't quite sound right.
Okay.
So,
What you were saying? You was trying to find the date of when the
no,
paranormal.
I found a date and then I thought the
Yeah.
name for it and put the date in it. So it was
Yeah.
like normal 19, I can't remember what it was, but it was the official date that the paranormal went into the dictionary, into the book.
Oh man. Can
But
you
then
remember that date? Sorry.
I'll have to find it. I'll have to find it and let you know. But I know it was 19, it was all around the Victorian era,
Yeah.
around that period. Yeah. So I know I looked at it, I thought, ooh, that'd be good, nice little twist on it, when paranormal was first invented in the dictionary. But then when I thought about it, it wasn't really a great name to have.
That's
So
something
yeah,
different.
come up with Midnight Paranormal.
That's cool, man. I see you got a Manchester United top on there, I believe.
Yes.
Is that so?
Yes.
You are you based in Manchester?
No, I'm
Yeah, there it is.
based in Wrexham, mate.
Oh,
Lived in
okay.
Wrexham my whole life. My wife's lived in Wrexham my whole life as well.
Yeah.
But Wrexham, I'd probably say I've followed from the age of 5.
Yeah.
Before that, it was Arsenal,
Yeah.
and then 5 years on, it went into United. Then, like so,
Yeah. And it's just United now.
just United,
Yeah.
mate. I got me kids, my daughters, they're all United. Me two lads are United, and there's only one of me lad that's Liverpool.
Oh no.
So that's fun when that comes around.
Is he the black sheep of the family?
No, no, to be fair, no, he's not. But he just,
No, I'm joking.
when it comes to match day rivals,
Yeah.
he gets all the digs. Like,
It's all good fun, isn't it?
yeah,
'Cause obviously, like, I won't go too much into football, but Wrexham, they're this new uh, world power team now. You know, there's been
Yeah, yeah,
Americans in and
they come on a lot, like, but I think that is a lot to do with Rob and obviously,
Mhm.
Ryan coming in and putting the sources into it, resources to get them where they need to be. But
Um,
they played really well for the past 2 seasons. They've
yeah,
promoted 2 years on the bounce now. So,
and they're on Disney Plus, which is
yes, on Disney Plus. I think the third season's coming out as well, isn't it now?
everyone loves it, man. So they're doing really well. So back to the paranormal. Where does it all start? I like to go to the beginning, like where it all
Um,
started for you.
to be honest, um, I've never really believed in it. At all. Yes, I've had some really strange things, I would say, happen to me personally, um, when I was younger, but for the likes of actually going out and investigating and believing, it wasn't something that we really believed. And then it was my mother-in-law, Roxanne's mum, who bought us tickets for Christmas, and we went. And the first ever investigation we'd ever been on, nothing was happening. It was quiet. It was actually in Chester at the time, and we were in Stanley Palace. And at the back, I was lying down on the stage, just relaxed, and something just popped in my mind. Take a picture, and I was always told by the guy that was running the night to always take 3 pictures, one in the beginning, one in the middle, one in the end, so you can compare. And believe it or not, I caught, and I've still got it on my phone, what appears to be a silhouette apparition of either a woman in a gown or like a monk, because it used to be a Black Friaries before then, which used to be monks, and it used to be like the pathway to like down to the docks. Um, but I've got it, and all you see is it's like a small little flash, like as if it started to manifest, and then it manifests into like a figure. But I'll have to send it over to you. But yeah,
Wow.
it's that was and I when I first looked at it, I thought, oh, it's just a reflection, it's just a flash. It's try to rationalize and explain it, and then when I showed the guy, he was like, yeah, but look, you've took three. There's nothing there in the middle one. You've caught a picture, and he actually put it on his website at the time, like,
Oh,
and
awesome.
then it just accumulated from there. Then we just carried on going with the same team. Then we become part of that team, and then that's when we started to go out. We've done 5 seasons on Amazon, so we ended up doing quite a bit. Like, to be fair,
Wow. Did you say you got 5 seasons on Amazon?
we did have.
Oh, wow.
So that was with the original team that we were with, and then obviously we went our separate ways. So now that's been taken off, obviously,
Okay.
because bits and bobs. I won't go into
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
but yeah. So we had a dispute. Let's call it
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
And so we went our own ways. But yeah, before then, prior to that, we done a series on Pendle Witches.
Mhm.
We stayed out in Pendle for over the weekend and went to all different locations and investigated there. We've done Chester around, and we've done like haunted pubs and stuff like that. So yeah, we've done 5 seasons in total, um, investigating different locations. Like,
Awesome, man. So that first picture that you captured,
yeah,
was it like a shadow figure or was it a full-bodied apparition?
it's like it's almost, and it sounds cliche to say, but when they say the woman in grey,
Yeah.
and I'll see if I can get it here now. I'm
Well,
sure I've got
you can
it.
see the outline of a lady.
It looks like either a body of a woman with a hood on, or like a monk with a hood on.
Wow, man. I mean,
Yeah,
it's so interesting how many people see the women in white, the women in grey.
yeah,
I hear that so often, and monks as well. I mean, that's another entity spirit that comes up a lot. A lot of people see as well.
yeah. Um, I've got it. I think I've got it on Instagram actually.
Okay,
2 seconds, mate. Let's try and get all the pictures up when they load.
no
See if you
problem,
can
man.
see. So, don't know if you can see that properly. You might not be able to see it.
Let's see. Ah, no,
No. What
no,
I'll do is,
that's
hang on.
okay.
I'll send it over to you now.
Awesome, man.
Um,
Am I okay to share it with the show
yeah, yeah, you
and
can do, mate.
stuff?
Not a problem.
So if you're watching on YouTube, I'll share it on.
It'll be good to get people's different opinions on it as well, because
Yeah.
for me it could be pareidolia, it could be anything. You know what I mean? I'm not claiming it to be 100%
But
paranormal, but it was just really weird how
yeah.
it's just I've just sent it to you now.
Did you see anything as you were taking the picture? Did you see a flash or did you see
No,
anything
so
standing there?
so where the place is, if you look at the bottom of the picture, it's
Hmm.
on wood. It looks like it's on wood, and you can see like a small
Okay.
flash, and then it's like an outline. And at first, I thought it was me flash, and the guy said to me at the time, "Oh no, it looks like you caught an apparition, but
Yeah.
there's nothing there." I don't know if you
So
can see.
I'll try and see if the camera can
Yeah,
see
there
it.
you go. I can see it from here. And if you look
Yeah.
at the way that streak is, it's
Yeah.
like almost like people say like an orb, like manifesting, and then it goes up.
Interesting.
And it looks like a small hood figure on the top.
Yeah.
Um,
Man.
but I'm happy to take people's opinions on it. Do you know what I mean? I'm not one of these ones that claim everything to be paranormal. If you could debunk it, or I'm happy to hear
Mhm.
different people's opinions. It'd be interesting to hear.
Yeah. It's very difficult, especially with pictures
Yeah,
and pictures like that, which can be, some people are going to look at that and go, no. And then some
yeah,
people are going to be like, yeah, I can see the figure.
yeah.
It's just,
Well, that's my first approach on it was when I first saw it. I was like, I looked at it, thought, oh, well, that's a bit weird. Like, there was nothing there at first, and
mhm.
then all of a sudden, like the guy said, oh yeah, looks
Yeah.
like what? Can you send it to me? Can you send it to me? And I was like, yeah, yeah, it's fine. But then I just shared it, but I never really claimed it to be. I said, is this an
Yeah.
apparition or whatever? But yeah, it was really interesting because it was beforehand. The strange thing was, it was just like something popped in my head and said, like, take a
Yeah.
picture. And
Yeah.
I was upstairs on my own in the back gallery, lying on the stage, just relaxing. And then I just turned to me, was it me left? Yeah, me left. And I just snapped 3 pictures, and that was
Yeah.
it.
See, that's interesting as well. See, your experience with the picture gives
Yeah,
it credibility, and yeah, very
yeah.
interesting, man.
Well,
And
that's
you
it.
can
Like,
see the outline, that's for sure.
yeah, like I say, like people debunk and etc. I'm one for it. I'll try and debunk because of the way the paranormal is, and I've been and seen things, how things work and stuff like that. It's very hard for us sitting at home when you watch something to go, yeah, that's 100%, because you're
Mhm.
not there. When
Yeah.
you're not there, you can't appreciate it as much as you would when you're there. So it is difficult because people can, they will misjudge and say, nah, that's not real. But to the
Mhm.
person that's there, it's their own personal experience. It's happened to them.
100%, yeah. And that goes the same with, like, I get a lot of people send me like pictures of possible Bigfoot,
Yeah,
Dogman, ghosts, and oh, because they've experienced it, they've seen something, they've captured the picture. Sometimes the picture doesn't do that experience justice, but
no, yeah,
they've seen more than the picture, if you know what I
yeah,
mean. And yeah, man, it's very difficult. I think even if you got the perfect picture of a grey lady, perfect, like
you
people
still get a question.
people still
Yeah,
wouldn't believe it, you
yeah.
know. So that's just the way it is. I think you just have to accept when it comes to the paranormal that you're not going to please everyone.
No, you're not, mate. You're not.
But when you've had it,
Unfortunately, in this field, mate, that's how it goes.
yeah, yeah. All you can go on really is your own experiences,
Yeah.
talking to like-minded people that are also interested and possibly had experiences. But it's still some people won't have it at all, and that's fine.
No. Yeah.
That's fair enough.
I've had it before when I put something on, I believe it was on TikTok,
Mhm.
um, on one of our clips where we filmed, we were in Weir Mill, in Stockport before they started putting it into apartments. We were in the basement and I saw what looked like a small baby crawling. Now, apparently, the story goes where it used to be a mill, people used to say to kids had died in that mill, but it's supposed to have said there's supposed to have been a man who killed 10 children in there. But I saw no word of a lie. I'll have to have a look if I got that clip for you as well. I
Mhm.
saw a baby, what I thought I saw, something small pink come through, and then straight away through the spirit box, a loud baby's cry come through. After I just said, because I believe there was a girl, Emma, who was with us. I said, Emma, move. There's something crawling by you. Move, Emma. She went, well, next minute, all you hear is a big, loud baby's cry come through the radio. And that was like, wow.
Whoa,
Yeah.
Man, how did you see? Was it just like a flash of light, or could you literally
No, it
see?
it was just like look, it was pitch black. So all it was to me was if I saw something move, but it looked pinkish, so it could have been like a light anomaly or anything
Yeah.
like that. And it just went from left to right, and it was by Emma. And I said to Emma, I said, "Move, Emma," and she was like, "What?" I said, "Just move. There's something crawling by your foot." And then obviously that freaked out. And then about 2 seconds later, a baby's cry come through, and the guy on TikTok actually went to me, and went, "Oh mate, it's not real. It's not me." And I just put back to him, I went, "Listen, mate, thanks for your opinion. You know, everybody's opinion. Thanks for commenting. Thanks for having a look at it." And he got back to me. He went, "Sorry, mate." He said, "I jumped the gun." He said, "I didn't even listen to it." He said, I just think." He said, "But actually, I've had a look at it." He goes, "You caught a massive piece of evidence there." He said, "Like, well done." And I was like,
Wow.
"Well." It was just, it was a really iconic experience. That I saw something and then I heard this noise come through, loud as day. We all heard it. I think there was about five of us in there, and we all heard this cry come through the portal. Like,
That is wild.
yeah, I'll have to look if I got the clip for you and I'll
Wow.
send that over.
Man, so could you see like features and stuff like
No, I
that on
couldn't
the?
see features. It was just something moving, just like a small, very small, like a child, like crawling,
Yeah.
and it just moving across the floor. And that's when I said like move, because I thought it could have been an animal or anything in there. And I was like, "Emma, move! There's something crawling by you." And then
Mhm.
we heard baby's cry come through, like, and it was really mad.
But when you consider the history of the place, what
Yeah,
you've just seen, and then the cry on the spirit box,
yeah.
what more do you need, man? I
But
mean,
yeah, on the top floor there was a lot of interaction with children. So they used to use it as a what's it called? Do when they go like BB shooting, airsoft.
uh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
use that like that place like that. And literally, we'd be on the top floor. You'd throw a couple of them like little BB bullets,
Mhm.
and they get thrown back at you. And then one of the investigators got touched, and he went, "Oh, someone's just touched," like pulled on his leg, and it was like he was like proper dramatic, like so. It was just, and we left like do you know the Boo Bear that records
Yeah.
down the hallway, and he called out and went, "Has somebody just touched me?" And no word of a lie, a little voice come through going, "It was me." So it was just things just.
Whoa! What at the moment he said is something touched
Yeah,
me.
at the moment he said somebody's just touched me. Who was it who just
Mm.
touched me? A child's voice come through and went, "It was me." It was like they were playing with us.
See, I don't know how anyone can't accept that when something like that happens. I mean, it's
And that was caught on camera. That was what was on the series as well.
yeah. Wow. So was that? So what it was coming? Was it the radio signal? And then obviously the voices
Oh
come
no,
out.
no. So
Is that?
this was there's a in the Boo Bear. There's an EVP
Oh, this was in the boot
device
bet.
built
Okay.
in, built in. So do you know where
Man,
the Boo Bear talks, doesn't it? Or
yeah.
can you touch me? Or you just tickled me? Or etc. like that. Well,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
what he called out and went, "Did you just touch me?" And a little. I think it was like a little boy's voice come through. And went, "It was me."
That's wild, man. Wow. I mean, there's something about kid ghosts that really scare me. I don't know what it is. It's the thought of, I don't know. It's just it really freaks me out, man. But that is wild.
Yeah,
Wow. So before you caught, so you caught the image on your phone of the possible grey lady or monk.
yeah.
Had you experienced anything before that, or was that the first?
The only thing I experienced, this is like personal now, going back to when, because I've had a kidney transplant. So when I was on the operating theatre, um, when I come round, my granddad's died. Obviously, he died when I was 6 month old, 8 month old, something like that. Well, anyway, all I saw was like it wasn't like a past, like as if I was, dying or anything like that. It was like I saw his face and he said to me, "Tell your dad it's not his fault." And then that's all I had. But it was just his face, just white, just his face. Tell your dad it's not his fault. It's not his fault. Um, and then when I come round, I wouldn't speak to anyone. And I said to me mum, "I want my dad, like, blah, 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 etc." And she said, "Oh, what do you mean?" I said, "I want my dad." And I said to me dad, "It's not your fault." And he said, "What?" I said, "Granddad told me to tell you it's not your fault." And he broke down. He always blamed himself for his dad dying, for not being able to save him. So it was a knock-on effect. And that was really mad. Like it was the fact that my dad had never told me that, and then I'd had my granddad come through and say, "Tell your dad it's not his fault." And then I told my dad, and my dad just broke down. Like,
Wow.
yeah,
Oh man, how old was you when that happened?
I was 18.
Wow. So you wasn't
Talk,
you was
talking
old
what,
enough
18
to,
years ago now.
yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's wild.
Yeah.
And that was as you was coming out of.
Yeah, yeah. As I was coming out of, you know, when they fetch you around
Mhm.
recovery. But my mum did say they were worried that it was 50-50 because I went into like hypothermia as I come round. So it could have been thingy, but my mum said they were worried because they said it would have been 50-50 chance that I would have lived or
Oh
passed away. Like,
man.
yeah,
Wow. So you did actually come close to.
to dying, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's that's
So it's
that's
it's it's a madness.
terrifying.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a madness like kind of way. It's almost as if my granddad was there, like, don't
Yeah.
worry, you're not going anywhere, like, but tell your dad this, I got a message, like.
And
But
was you.
I've always been told there's a medium that lives in our village. Well, she's moved out of the village now, but she's always said to me, "You've got someone with you all the time. You got two men with you. One's got dark, thick hair, and one wears glasses and curly hair. And the one with dark hair is my granddad, and the one with curly hair is me nan and me mum's granddad, her side.
Ah, wow, man.
But this woman, like, she's been pretty much spot on, like, with stuff, like. But I'm not really. I'm very skeptical when it comes to mediums, like, very skeptical. Unless I make an appointment and they haven't got my name or my number, and I just turn up at the door, mate. That's when I'll believe what they say to me. But
Oh man, that's I mean, what a very obviously a cool experience because it gave your dad the closure that he probably needed, and
well,
and and
it didn't give him his cloak. My dad had a very I won't go into it, like, but he had a very bad life. I say bad life, but like childhood growing up, he was involved heavily in alcohol and drugs and that. So that was, a big part of it. He's dead now, like, he's passed away. But
I'm
that
sorry to
was,
hear that, man.
yeah, it's okay. That was the biggest, and he'd always blamed himself. And then when my nan died 3 years ago now, he just, that was it. Like, that was it for him. Do you know what I mean? So it was a case of they were his life. Like,
Hmm. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, man.
it's okay, mate.
How did your dad react, if you don't mind? How did he react to you telling him that?
He just broke down. Um, I remember I was sitting well, I was lying on a hospital bed. My dad turned up because it was in Liverpool at the time. And my dad turned up, he sat in the bed, and I said, "Oh, I need to tell you something." He said, "Oh, what's the matter? Like, why are you really upset?" And I went, I saw Granddad. And he went, "What do you mean?" He said, "You've never seen him. You were 6 months old." He kind of reacted in a defensive way at first. And I said, "Listen, all he said to me was to tell you it's not your fault. Tell your dad it's not his fault." And then he just, mate, I've never seen my dad cry like that. And then he just burst into tears. And then my mum explained to me afterwards that because my granddad was a heavy drinker, um, that he took a lot of painkillers or whatever. He was in pain, but he passed away, and he was alive in the house, but he was limp. And my dad was carrying him around the front room, trying to get him up to walk and thingy, but the ambulance won't come, so they had pronounced him dead in the ambulance. So my dad said if he would have been quicker, he would have been able to save him, like, but he wouldn't have. The hospital said there was no way that he would have survived it, like.
Yeah,
So my dad always blamed himself.
man. Did you know that? Did you know that your dad blamed himself? Or
No, not at first, no. And that's where my dad's alcohol and drugs association come from. So my dad was what when I was born, my dad was 18 and his dad died then. So when I was in hospital having an operation when I was 6 months old, they were burying my granddad.
oh man, wow,
Yeah.
wow, man. I mean, it does make you wonder. Like you got possibly, as you were saying, close to death yourself.
Yeah.
If that,
As
that that
big as
that
anything. Yeah.
that veil between you was somewhere there, and that's how your granddad got through to you. That's wild, man.
Madness, innit?
Yeah, I've spoke to a lot of people that have passed away on the operating table and had out of body experiences,
Yeah.
gone to the other side, and I find it interesting because it's normally the same experience that people tell you, very similar.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it sounds possibly that you got close to that, and that's how your granddad
Possibly, mate. Yeah, all I know is it was just white, just pure white, and then just my granddad's face, and that was it. It was just him. He come through like I've got a picture upstairs of my granddad that my dad's had for years, um, and he looked exactly the same as I saw him in the hospital as what he did on that picture.
Yeah.
Big, thick black hair. He was a big, stocky man as well. Like he was a broad chap,
Mm.
and just you could just it was just his face that was just stood out clear as anything.
I mean, what an experience, man. Like,
A mad experience.
how did that leave you at
Especially at that
18?
age, like at 18, just coming out of hospital having an operation because I was having what was I was having dialysis at the time, so it was then when they were operating. So it was
Man.
one of those.
So that changed the game for you, I guess, experiencing something like that. Or
Yeah, but believe it or not, I never really got into the paranormal till what about I was 25, something like that.
yeah. So it
So
took a few years.
it took, yeah, and it was, don't get me wrong, I've always watched paranormal shows and, like Bigfoot shows, UFOs, and, I've always been into that kind
Mhm.
of stuff. Always, like, it's always fascinated me. But then it was when the mother-in-law bought us a ticket to go and do an investigation. That's kind of then what sparked it. We kept going back, and then it was kind of like, oh, right, okay. And then we managed to travel up and down the UK doing different locations, like which has been brilliant.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So that experience with your granddad was, would you say that that is your first experience, or was there anything else when you was a kid that you saw or experienced?
No, I always remember having a dream. Um, I thought I always put it down to a dream. So we lived in a an old house in Wrexham in a place called Queen's Park, um, and I like as if you have sleep paralysis, you wake up, you can't speak. Well, I saw, sounds weird, like an elephant come up the stairs, right? So I thought I knew it was a dream. But then a couple of nights later, I have a man in a purple suit, purple top hat. Still remember it clear as day today. It was like a pastel purple, dark purple waistcoat with like a bluish tie, pop up from the floorboards next to me bed, and then go. And I was must have been about 6, 7, and he went rah, like trying to scare me. And I went rah back, and he went back underneath, and I ran into my mum's bedroom. And I slept on like this little chair thing. My mum had she had a wicker chair in her bedroom, my mum and dad, and I slept in that without even my mum knowing. And I didn't even know if that was a dream or whether that was real. But my mum
Wow.
said I always used to say there was something in the bedroom, like,
Yeah, man.
but I always thought I was dreaming.
Wow. I
Very
ask because
imaginative, very imaginary mind, mate.
yeah, but I mean, kids see things, man. I did
Yeah.
as a kid, my kids see stuff. It's definitely we seem to be more open as kids, and I feel like if you have an experience when you're really young, that tends to mean that you're probably going to experience stuff throughout your life. That's just what I'm getting. So I might be wrong on that, but
I, th
that's
I
just
think I think when you open yourself up to it or you've had an experience, I think that's when you come more in tune to it. Then it's like,
yes,
yeah, you can like I know in this house now where I live, um, there's only ever been 3 owners in this house, and it was the woman who lived here. It was her son. She took it on afterwards, and then we've had it. But it was her son who actually died in the chair from the right of me, and the next door neighbor had to witness, like to come and identify him, and we still see him walking up and down our landing and up and down the stairs. And we've got that used to it. The kids have got that used to it now. It's just like, yeah, it's Mr. Chester's. It's fine. Um, but I remember specifically what and one night, and the only way it clarified it for us is I'd never met him, but my wife knew him because they used to play like knock knock run when they were kids and all that. And she said he had boils on his face. He looked scary. That's why kids didn't like him. If you like, he looked like the scary man in the village.
yeah,
Um, and we went, where did we go? We went on an investigation somewhere, and Roxanne had a bad experience. I think she was petrified of that. We come home, and in my daughter's bedroom, our bedroom now, my daughter had a stand-up mirror. So she said this figure popped up. She was awake, popped up behind the mirror with a horrible face, looked at her, scared her, and she said another man appeared at the side of her curtain with boils on his face and said to this thing, "Get out, go away." And then it disappeared. And then he looked at my daughter Summer and went, "It's okay now," smiled and left.
Oh, that's made me go
To this
cold.
to this day, mate, she is adamant that she was awake and there was something. But we went, I can't remember where we went. I'll have to ask Roxanne. We went somewhere and we had a bad experience there. It was like a dark experience. And we come home and that's when she witnessed it. Like she said, there was something in my bedroom. She said it was behind the mirror. She said it was scary looking. She said it was taunting me. She said, and the next thing, this man appeared with like boils on his face, told her to go away, looked at her, smiled, and then disappeared. And that's when my wife said, she said, "That's Mr. Chester's." She said he had boils all over his face. She said, "That's who he is that lived here."
That's wild. So
Yeah.
you guys were investigating and having a negative experience, and
Yeah.
something
Something's come home. Yeah.
possibly turned up to attack your family,
Yeah.
which is terrifying.
Yeah. But we've had that happen.
Whoa,
We've had that happen a couple occasions.
man. Well, we're going to get into that. That's for sure. I just want to go back to your your circus experience. I'm saying circus because you said the ringleader type guy and the elephant.
Yeah.
It sounds like the circus was in
It
town.
does, yeah, yeah. It does. It was mad, mate. It was a bit. It scared me, put it that way.
Yeah,
I was petrified to sleep in our bedroom, but it happened a couple of nights on the road, and that's why my mum was like, "Oh, you must be dreaming. You must be." But it was one of those that, every night I'd run into my mum's bedroom, and
yeah.
she always used to say that I used to talk to things and stuff like that. But I remember it vividly, mate. Small single divan bed. I had blue curtains. Room was pretty much empty. We never had much back then. Um, yeah, you got to be talking 30 years ago now, 29 years, 30 years ago. And I must have been dreaming about the elephant coming up the stairs, but it was walking up the stairs. And I remember when it was walking up the stairs, I actually ran out the bedroom and ran into my mum's bedroom to the left because it was a banister right outside my door, like where the stair. And I remember running, but I must have been dreaming that I was running to my mum's room. But then the next night there was this clear as day, mate. This top hat, purple suit, proper like I wouldn't say like a light lilac, a bit darker than lilac, dark purple waistcoat, blue tie, and it was clear as day. Just come up through the floorboards and just went rah, like a proper deep, like nasty, like rah. And I went rah back to it, thinking that I'd be a smart ass like, and it just disappeared. Went
Yeah.
back through the floor and I broke down. I did. I was crying. Like I was petrified. And I ran into my mum's bedroom and I slept. She had like this swinging wicker chair in her bedroom, and I slept on that all night. Didn't move. But that happened for a few nights on the go, like,
Yeah. You saw that same man.
yeah.
Whoa,
And
man.
the only time I think it stopped was when my dad accidentally, he was drunk, like, accidentally set the house on fire. Yeah, the whole house went up in flames. Um, Lucky enough, my dog saved him.
Wow.
Yeah. And after that, once we got the house all back together and decorated, it stopped.
Really? That's interesting. Man.
That's one.
I've got, how did the dog save him, if you don't mind me asking?
Um,
I need to know.
I think my dad, he took my dad crawling. My dad was crawling out because my dad obviously fell asleep,
Hmm.
dropped the bag on the floor, like, and set it up.
Oh,
And
man.
as he was trying to get out, my dog Tolly, her name was, she was a German Shepherd cross collie. Lovely, beautiful dog she was.
Yeah.
Um, and she like guided him out the house, if you like. And he said if it wasn't for that
Wow.
dog, because he had that dog since a pup, because he had the mum of her. And he said if it wasn't for that dog, he would have been dead, like, in that house.
Yeah. Wow. Dogs are special, man.
Yeah. Well, that's it. That dog
Wow.
made me mum would know where I was on the street, because that dog would be outside that gate wherever I was, waiting for me. Wouldn't move my side, mate.
Oh, wow. That's awesome, man.
Brilliant dog it was.
I love dogs. I
Yeah,
love
I
dogs.
got I got six of them. I have, mate.
Yeah. I've got one. He's hard enough, but
Ah, no,
I would
yeah,
have more.
I got six, mate. I got a bull
Six.
mastiff, Staffordshire bull terrier, two Jack Russells, a Patterdale terrier, and a Yorkie cross Chihuahua.
Oh, wow. I bet it can get lively at your house then.
Oh yeah, plus I got two cats as well, mate, and a bird.
Oh, wow, man. I've got a Staffordshire Bull Terrier.
Oh,
I mean,
brilliant dog.
all dogs are great, but yeah, I love them all, man. I love
Yeah.
them all. Ah, but one's enough for me. Even though I would like to have more one day. But yeah, so it sounds like you was experiencing a lot as a kid then. If you were having
Yeah.
these
Well, that's
experiences.
what I said. Like, part of me thought, it's dreaming. But obviously you don't know as a kid what you're experiencing, do you? You
Mhm.
just, when you look back at it now and you look at what I've witnessed over the years, you could possibly say, yeah, that was, something, but I can't say for definite, like, because, I
Yeah,
was a child, but, going through the experiences I've had over the years, and there's been some experiences, mate, that, it looks more likely it could have been more paranormal.
yeah, yeah. I think a lot of the time we're told as kids it's our imagination
Yeah.
and we
I
sort of
think it's
take that into our adulthood and
Yeah, it's portrayed as that though, isn't it? From your mum, your parents. Oh, you thought he's got an imaginary friend. But they always say a kid up to the age of 3 is in tune to seeing ghosts.
yeah, yeah. Is it we're not conditioned when we're kids, we're open to everything like animals are. Like
Yeah,
animals have a lot of experiences and we'll see I say they have a lot they seem to see things and react to things that are not there.
yeah,
And you're like, what's that all about? They're seeing something.
yeah.
So yeah, man. So going back to did you say his name was Chester in your house?
Mr. Chester's, yeah, we
Mr.
call him.
Chester. Do you see him like
His shadow, we
full?
see his shadow. So, where, so in my daughter's bedroom now, when she was first in there as a baby, we had a hole in the door, and when we were in there, you could see past the door the shadow moving back and two. Now my daughter's 13 now, youngest is 11. So for some years we've been here 10 years now, 11 years, and we've seen it pretty much from, I'd say, about 6 months into the house when we moved in, we started to see it. Um, but it was only, I think, 2 months before we moved in they found his body. But yeah, you hear him walking up and down the corridor. Our landing's quite like, floorboardy creaks, and you hear the footsteps. It's not every night, like, but even my daughter now, someone who's had that experience in the bedroom that we're in, she says she sees a shadow standing in her bedroom now, almost as if it's looking after her. Like,
Yeah. So apart from your daughter, nobody's seen like the full bodied apparition of him.
no, not in the aspect of that. What we have seen is we went to Tatton Hall Park. You've heard Tatton Hall Park, yeah. Me and Katie. Now Katie lives in Wem, and we're in Wrexham. We investigated there. We come home. She was obviously in her house. We were here, and me and her had the same dream on the same night with the same thing calling our name.
That's weird.
Yeah, so I was obviously sleeping, and all I could hear was someone chanting my name like Charlie, Charlie, and then closer it goes like Charlie, Charlie, and it like really shook me. Woke up, and there was this big, and I mean big, 7 foot black silhouette in the bedroom, massive, bigger than the door frame. It was massive, and then I was like, I'm a bit scared. Like, oh, okay, blah blah blah, a bit shit up at first, like shook up, and then my wife didn't believe me. Roxanne didn't believe me at first. She goes, oh, you just, it's in your sleep. You've been sleeping. You're half asleep. You're always awake. Blah blah blah. It's your eyes playing. And then she witnessed it. Then a couple of weeks later, and she was like, "Yeah, yeah, I did see that shadow figure in the bedroom." I was like, "Oh, did you?" She was, "Yeah, it was when you were in work on nights." I was like, "Oh, okay, so you believe me now then, yeah?" It's like, "Yeah." But she's also seen a little boy in our bedroom. Sitting. I was actually up watching telly on the chair, and she was behind me on the bed sleeping, obviously. And then she said she like woke up like had sleep paralysis, seen a little boy at the bottom of the bed, just standing there. And she said she was awake, so she was like trying to kick me, and she couldn't do anything. She couldn't move any, couldn't because obviously sleep paralysis. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was a weird one for her. But Katie had the same, what I had, but shouting her name, Katie, 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 and this
What?
all stemmed back from Tatton Hall Park. But I remember we had a group come in when we done public nights. Had a woman come in and she said there was something on the land. Is almost like a what they called like a gamekeeper, like which they keep pets, and these pets are nasty. or whatever they are. And I always remember I was in the main chamber bedroom in there, and we heard scratching underneath the bed. And I went to have a look, and she went, "Don't you dare go underneath that bed." And I went, "What?" She went, "It'll scratch you. Don't go." And me being, cocky, straight under the bed. Nothing happened, like, but she said, "Yeah." She said, "You think it's this house?" She said, "It's not, because where Tatton Park is, there used to be a village around it, but you can't see that now. It's just mounds of hill." And she said, "It's actually what's on this land that's actually haunting this house and making it bad, like, as well as the residential spirits, like."
Yeah.
But she said, "Yeah, that's what gives this house a really bad feeling."
Wow, man. So Katie woke up as well and saw the 7 foot.
Yeah, both had the same experience on the same night. Chanting her name, Katie, Katie, got deeper as it got closer to her, and she woke up and saw this figure in the bedroom. She said she also had things moving around in her house. So, but we kind of had similar experiences as well after that. Like, certain things would happen, then it'd happen. It was like Katie's very, I'd say, very in tune to the paranormal. Now she doesn't, she's very skeptical, but you take her anywhere and she only has to open her mouth, mate, and things happen. And I don't know whether that's if she's got anything with her or aside of her, but she's very much on that. That's a load of, she's very skeptical. Unless she sees it herself, she doesn't believe in none of it. Like, but even then, that shook her up. Like, she was like, "No, this is something happening." Like, but then when we stopped going to Tatton Park, it all stopped.
Interesting. That's wild that you both experienced exactly
Yeah.
the same thing on the same night.
And that's what made it more clarity for us, that clarified that we were both witnessing the same thing from this house, two different areas. And she's in England and I'm in Wales. I
Yeah.
mean, so it was very strange.
And can you describe sort of what that entity looked like?
It was just black, mate, just pure black. You can see the full body, legs, arms, shoulders, head. It was just a full big black silhouette. And I mean, you see black, dark, dark when you're in dark places and you're investigating, but this was black, like proper. Just you couldn't see nothing through it. I could see the bedroom lights were off, and you could see the outline of the bedroom looked as if it was light in there because you could just see how black the silhouette was. Like it was
Yeah.
really, really black.
Yeah, man. Well, I've personally experienced that myself, waking up and seeing the shape of
Yeah,
someone standing there, like blacker than the black of the room, like darker than the dark.
yeah,
And it's terrifying, man. Especially when you wake up and you see something like that. To wake up and see like a family member standing there, that scares you.
yeah.
So when you wake up and see, it's terrifying. It really
It
is.
startles you, doesn't it?
Yeah. So that was possibly, obviously, you were bringing something back with you from
Yeah,
from that investigation.
I think it was a lot to do because me and Katie tend to push it on investigations. Now we'll be respectful as always wherever we go, but and I know a lot of people probably disagree with it when they say you goad in and you provoke, and I get it, I understand it, but then there's certain places you go, you've got to try and figure out the dynamic of the entity that's there, if there is an entity there. So we could have an entity that we could be speaking to respectfully, asking the right questions, respectful questions, and get amazing activity. Then there's some places where we haven't been and we've caught an EVP telling us to, do one or F off or what have you. And then when we goad, we seem to get more as if they tend to enjoy that attention they're getting from us goading. So I believe, a bit of both works. You got to figure out where you are, what you're dealing with, I think, first before you can actually go in with a proper way of investigating.
Yeah, yeah, man, it's terrible. It's terrifying the thought of bringing something back. I know that's the risk you take when you play this. You play this
Yeah.
game. The
We've had a
chances
little
are.
girl come back to this house as well.
What was that? Sorry.
We've had a little girl come back to this house as well.
Oh man.
So I remember I never went on a hunt. Roxanne went with one of our friends to Stanley Palace, and Roxanne, wherever she goes, if there's kids, she tends to have a lot of interaction with kids. And she said the only way she could describe it, it was sitting in a table in the middle. And the only way she could describe it is like, you know, when you put your finger inside putty or like the slime, and she said she felt like a finger go into the side of her stomach, like in the side of her. She felt physically as if somebody had put a finger inside her.
Yeah.
And sounds wrong, that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Into her stomach.
If you just heard that part,
Yeah.
people are like, what? Yeah, sorry.
And then she came home, obviously, and you know, next couple of days later, we thought we were, you know, experiencing different things in the house. So anyway, the kids were in school. We set up a camera, EVP, and we went shopping, left the house for a couple of hours. And what we caught on the EVP was our daughter's toys moving in her bedroom, playing, and a little girl's voice humming, like singing, like.
Oh,
And when she went back to Stanley Palace, we smudged the whole house first, said, you're not welcome, you need to go back. When we went back to Stanley Palace, she asked the question, did one of you follow me home? And a little girl's voice come through for a while.
oh,
Yeah. That was like
oh,
100% proof for her. There was like, she had that experience within that location, and she'd come home and it had followed her, because
wow.
Roxanne's got a very calming nature about her. She's very caring, if you like. She's good with that. She does a lot for people and cares for people the more than what she should. So she's got that person that she gets that from her mum. So she's got that personality of her. And I think that's why this kid's like followed her home, like, because she's been really welcoming
Yeah,
to it, and it's followed her home. But yeah, it was madness, like.
that's wild. Because the scary thing as well is obviously with entities, spirits, you know, they might be just portraying themselves as a little girl,
Yeah,
and that's something that really scares me because you hear it a lot.
yeah,
These
yeah,
things can change your perception of them and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know, but that scares me. I mean, a little ghost girl, whether it's a ghost girl or a demon pretending to be a ghost girl, they're all scary, man. Don't get me wrong,
yeah,
but that's wild. The night that your daughter was attacked and saved by Chester, the
yeah,
guy that, what did you say where you was investigating that night? Because you said you was having a bad
yeah.
experience. Can you remember what that was?
Oh, I'll tell you where it was actually. It was Lancashire, the old courts, Accrington courts.
Okay.
That's where it was. And I specifically remember because um I remember that Roxanne and one of the other investigators were in the cells down below the court dockings where they are. And they had a man's voice come through, said, "I'm coming." And we thought it was a guard. And Roxanne said she heard this voice, deep voice, and she, you know, crapped herself, like, and she ran into the other cell with the other investigator. Because at the end, it was that night when we come home that my daughter experienced it.
Man, he said, I'm
Yeah, it
coming.
must have been Accrington Court.
Wow. See, again, that's wild. That's another synchronicity. I'm coming, and then it goes to your
Yeah.
possibly to attack your family. That's wild, man. Have you found since you've been see, I know you've been doing this for 10 years now, you said,
Yeah.
but have you found that the more you do, the more activity you're getting? And did you find that at the start you was getting as soon as you started looking into this stuff, did you start getting a lot of experiences happening?
Um, yes and no. Um, so we've done a location for years, and built up on the story of it, built up of the questions that we were asking, the answers we were getting back from the entities, if you like. I go back to a place called Penalan in Wrexham in Rwabon, and there was a spirit there that we believe to be called Eleanor, and she was a very, very clever spirit. Now, the story goes, whether it's true or not, is that she was the mistress, and she was left to look after, obviously, the gentleman's children. She was like looking after them, and she hated kids. Um, but something had happened in the house, not in the house, sorry, something had happened to this boy. Was it Thomas Hardcastle, I believe it, yeah, but I think might not be. I believe it's Thomas Hardcastle, drowned in the river at the bottom of the land, if you like, down and it came out that he was murdered. And then it goes back to the deeds of the house. So the deeds were actually lost in a fire, but this spirit that walks around the house is looking for these deeds, and the spirit that's looking for the deeds is said to have been the family's like solicitor, if you like, and he was in charge of these deeds and making sure, and there was something going on with the family, a feud, and this spirit, Eleanor, knew everything about it. She'd seen it. She knew when stuff today in the house is changing. She'd tell you. She knew who the owner was, who Emma obviously is the owner. She knew who she was. And the weirdest thing is that they had this feud over the deeds, over the family, and to this day, there's still a feud going on with the family over the deeds.
Oh man.
So Emma, who owns it, one of her family members is trying to fight for the deeds of the house. When it's been passed to Emma proper, it's all legit. But then her mum had a cottage that's near Penellan, and they're trying to get that. So there's a massive feud going on with the deeds now of this house. Which was when Emma told us was a really interesting, because we've been getting this like story from the spirits that were there, getting these answers that we were looking for, and about these deeds, about who was in the house, and who she was scared of. And I always remember we saw a clip of another team that went there who captured a picture of on video of a man with a top hat on walking in the basement. And when you'd speak to the man in the basement, he'd always say, ask her upstairs. And when you speak to Eleanor, she'd always say, ask him downstairs. So they'd
Oh man.
play off each other. So I remember one night we were there, we had guests there, and we done the SS method. And there was a skeptic there, this man, honest God. I tell you, he looked like Bjorn from Vikings. And we put him in a separate room, segregated him from us, and I was whispering so nobody could hear me. And I was going, tell me what, because there's like a wine cellar, and I was like, tell me what's behind here. This wine cellar is tunnels that have been caved in, and it's said to have been a body of somebody behind there, of a kid. So I was like, what's behind here? What's behind here? And he was going, it's a secret. It's a secret. And I went, no, tell me what's behind here. It's a secret. There's a boy. It's a secret. And I went, how did he get here? And he goes, ask her upstairs.
Man.
So it's on it,
Was
but
that
like
through the spirit box you was getting that as your
that was coming through the spirit box on the SS method. So he who was on it was telling us what was saying, and
yeah,
then put somebody else on there, to obviously try and change it up and see what, and they were getting the same responses.
that's wild.
So
Yeah.
we are looking to go back there. Katie messaged me the other day and she said, oh, even though, because it's gone quiet now, so it's almost like you've overdone it, going back to the original question.
Hmm.
It's like if you do it too many times, it's almost like she stopped responding to us. It was like just the odd flicker of a K2 in there, whereas before everything would light up, you'd get responses on command, and then it slowly like died out because you're asking her the same questions all the time.
Yeah.
Uh, so yes, it can be overdone, but then I also believe that you have to go to a location many a times
Hmm.
to try and get the story behind the hauntings, whether it's residual, whether it's something that's bound there, you know, and that's us as investigators, that's our job, that's what we're here to do, to try and definitely get, to find the proper answers of what we need to find. Um, but yeah, going back to the original question, that's why I said yes and no, because some places can be overdone. Some places you need to do regular to get the answers that you need.
Yeah. Difficult question now. And it's a tough one because nobody really has the answers. But what do you think is going on with the paranormal? What do you think it is? And I know that's difficult because it's
In the aspect of what is paranormal, you mean, or
yeah. So what do you
within the
think?
paranormal field?
Yeah, what do you think is happening when we're seeing ghosts? Like, what do you think they are? And I know that's a difficult question because
So
it's very open.
I always go back to, have you ever seen The Fourth Kind?
Yeah, have I seen that? I must have done, but I can't
So
remember. I'm terrible with
it's
names of stuff,
it's
so I
uh
probably
two
have seen. I
two
know that
families,
film. Yeah.
two families. One's in one dimension, one's in the other.
Is it Nicole Kidman?
Yes.
Yeah, I need to watch it again though,
And
because a lot of people are telling me
they
about
hear
this.
banging, stuff like that, and they think it's spirits in the house, and actually it's not. It's another family, but in a different dimension, in different aspects. So, do I believe that the spirits? Yes, but do I also believe there's an aspect of we're in a different time frame? Possibly, and we're only hearing them going about in their day-to-day business. And then when we hear that subtle voice, or we hear this voice of certain person responding to a certain question, is that them picking up on our energy when we're asking and relaying it back to us? Do we need to give off enough energy for them to be able to relay back to us? It's a question that nobody's going to be able to ask until till sadly they've gone.
Yeah,
Until we pass away, we're never going to really understand it. But do I believe there could be alternate dimensions going down a really, really wide expansion of thoughts there?
hmm,
Possibly, yes.
yeah,
Um, but I think it is interesting that spirits, I do believe, that are stuck. It's not necessarily that they have unfinished business, because there's a lot of entities that we come across that when you've asked them, they're happy to be there. They just go about their day-to-day things, and it's just there. Whereas I believe if there's spirits that are there that have unfinished business, they'll try and get them answers to you, or try and relay to you something so they can move on. We had it in Penellan. In fact, there was a man spirit that used to linger between the top floor and the middle floor. And this is how we found out about Thomas Hardcastle being a homicide, because it come through saying homicide and murder, and then he said, "That's it, it's okay now." And we never heard from him again.
oh
So it was
wow,
almost like he had a secret to tell us, told us, and never had any response from him again. It was like gone, just there and then, just lifted. The whole atmosphere changed.
wow,
So yeah, I do believe if spirits do want to pass on, they can. Do I believe some of them want to stay here, or they're bound here? Yes. If they have unfinished business, I believe that they would relay it to us in some way, if they can, to allow us to then try and pass them over.
yeah, yeah, man, interesting stuff. So so have you seen other things? I know you saw the possible baby crawling, and you saw stuff when you was a kid as well. Have you seen apparitions? Have you seen full-bodied apparitions? Have you seen
Yeah,
anything like
I've
that?
seen, like, the usual shadows. I say usual because sometimes it's our eyes that play tricks on us. We know that if we change into different lighting, it's always an aspect that you do pick up on, um shadow figures there moving around. Tatton Hall, go back to there. I've seen what I can only describe as a massive claw. So there was a group of guests with us at the time, and four or five of them saw it at the same time. So we could hear like noises coming from along the corridor, if you like, towards a spinning room, which they believe it's called the portal room, if you like. Um, so we could hear noise. We were in the main chamber. We could hear noise, and I went, "Oh, I'll go down and I'll have a look what it is, just in case somebody's walked into the building." It's a big open land. Anybody could have got onto the land somehow, and So I said, "Oh, I'll go and have a look what it is." And as I walked down there, all I saw was this massive, and I mean, must have been, I'd say, 2 foot wide claw hand come round. So as you go down the corridor, it's a curtain here, and then it goes down some stairs, and it come round. And all I heard as I saw it, it didn't phase me. And all I heard behind me was women screaming, saying, "What was that just by you, Charlie? He was about to grab you." And I went, "It was just a hand." But it was massive, mate. It was massive, like a claw. And then the other experience with going back to a shadow in the same place, where the spinning room, where they call it the portal room. We were we were I was golden, if you like. I was trying to provoke. And I was like, "I'm not scared of you. I don't care. You can come at me." So I stood in this doorway. And again, group behind us started screaming, and even my wife was there. She saw this black shadow just walk through me, through the door, behind me. And Roxanne said, she said she never ever seen anything like it before. That it- yeah, we've seen shadows, we've seen figures, but she said for something to walk through you, she said you were standing in front of the door. She was like as if you didn't even realize we were here. She said you were just going and going and going, and
Wow.
this shadow just walked straight through the door, straight through me. And this was a big, again, going back to what in the bedroom, a big, massive black shadow
Hmm.
figure. And it walked through the door and guests screamed. They were like, whoa, they almost screamed and like petrified. It wasn't like excitement. They were scared. Like,
Did you feel anything when that went through you? Was
no,
you?
because I think my adrenaline was just going. I was like, I was pumped. I was proper, going for it. So to me, it was like whatever's there, just come at me because everybody said they had a bad experience in that room, a really negative experience. But then on the other side of it, there's also said to be a woman that sits in a chair by the window in there, where we caught an EVP of her saying she's waiting for her love. So it's two different
Man,
stories. So it's a bit sorry for the banging there. That's a child
that's
yelled.
okay.
I'm just
No,
in the kitchen. Um,
no worries, man. So that hand that you saw come around the corner, was that in the same location? That
yeah,
was,
yeah,
and other people saw that hand as well as you.
yeah.
Whoa.
And then that goes back to before we had that woman there saying that there was something like a pet on the land. That when you look back and you think about it now of all the things that had happened, it goes with what she said. It kind of makes sense that there's this keeper on the land, almost like a witch doctor, if you like, and he's got this like demonic pet that roams around the land and in the house. So everything that like kind of happens when you think about it and you look back at it, it's like, oh, hang on, she made a lot of sense.
Yeah. So this hand, it was obviously large. It
Oh yeah,
wasn't.
it was
It
large.
wasn't a human hand.
No, no, definitely. You could see claws on it. It was fingertip like claws.
Whoa. If
It
you had
was
to, have you
just
seen
out.
anything else that looks like that you can relate it to?
No, no. It's only been that place that's really where we've had a negative impact in such as like things following us home in the way that things have kind of scared us, if you like, or pushed our boundaries.
Yeah, yeah. What?
Another fascinating place was have you ever you've heard of Denby Asylum, haven't you?
I'm not sure. I am terrible with names,
So
so I could have done.
Denby Asylum used to be for the mentally ill patients many years ago. And then they've got now Pool Park Asylum, which is the sister building, if you like. So it was for the overspill with the really mentally insane. And I know that sounds bad, but obviously back then that's what it was known as. Um, I had a really weird. So it was caught on camera again. On our series, we were doing a dark series, if you like, places with dark. So I was goading and goading again, provoking, and I was on the stairs and I felt a sharp pain in my side. And I went down on the marble stairs and I went, it's killing me. And then I
Yeah.
got up and went, you can't hurt me. Clear as day, EVP back of a man just going, I just have done. And it was like,
Whoa.
because when we were filming it, we didn't realize we had that EVP at the time. So then, like, at the time, the lead investigator was like, oh, that looked a bit naff. I said, well, you're about, it looked like you went down the stairs. I said, mate, I was in agony. I had pain in the side of me. I had, and my dad watched that. I remember my dad saying he watched that episode, and my dad was angry watching it because he could see I was physically getting hurt. And he said it, look, and then about an hour later, he messaged me, went, you're not going to believe what we've caught. And I went, what? He went, do you know where you went down on the stairs where you said your side was hurt and you shouted, you can't hurt me? He went, yeah. He said, listen to this EVP, and he played it back to me, and it was like a Welsh accent as well, and it was like, I just have done. Like, it was mad, mate.
That's wild.
Yeah,
So you
and then
felt like
as
you was
we,
getting like stabbed or something like that. Or
yeah,
something.
honestly, mate, it was the most excruciating pain I'd felt in the side of me than I'd ever felt before. Um,
Man.
But yeah, going back to Pool Park as well, leaving there. Um, as we were leaving, the atmosphere was very dark. It was a horrible feeling. And I was leaving there, and I was saying to him, "Get out, get out, get out." And they were like, what's the matter? I said, there's a woman behind me following me. Get out. And I remember the woman, curly hair, small curly hair, white nightgown, and she was following behind me, but she was scary looking. So we got in the car and I started to drive away from there. What do? I look in the back mirror and I see this figure in the back of the car. And I said to my wife, I said, check the back of the car, check the back of the car. She went, what? I went, check the back of the car. She said, there's nothing there. I said, I just saw the woman that was following us out of the house. I've just saw her in the car. Oh, whatever. A couple of weeks went by. We left it. We were on our way to, is it Tartan Park? Might have been Tartan Park. Or we were heading towards Manchester way that way. And I had to swerve the car. I saw her again in the back of the car. Same woman. And I
Oh,
nearly killed us on the motorway, mate. Roxanne went off and I said, what's where? I said, she's in the back of the car again. And after that, I never saw her again.
oh man. So
But
originally you
it's a
saw her
really bad
chasing you
experience.
out of the location and she was full bodied. Is that
Following,
right?
yeah, full body, mate. I could see the arms, her full face, like I'm looking at you now. Her
Hmm.
hair was all curly and white, white dress on, like nightgowns or like the old nighties, like that. And as we were climbing out of there, going out of her, I said, move, get out, get out. I said, why? I said, she's behind us, she's following us, she's coming. And then when we got in the car, I saw her in the back of the car as we were driving home. And then a couple of weeks later on the motorway, she was in the back of the car again.
Oh, that's terrifying, man.
So that Roxanne went off her head, like he started
Yeah.
swerving on the motorway, and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like,
Wow.
"She's in the back of the car." She went, "There's nobody there."
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did she manifest herself in the first when you first saw her? She just
So
appeared.
as we were leaving, it was almost like I felt because my back was to it. So in Pool Park, it's a massive corridor, wide open. And as we were leaving out, you come out, you turn left to go out. As we were coming out, I just felt this presence behind me, like I could feel as if somebody was watching me. And then as I turned around, I could just see her walking towards me. And it was a case of, right, that's not normal because we'd been in there for a couple of hours. There was nobody else in there. And it was like, I was like, get out. She scared me, mate. And I don't get scared very easily.
Mhm.
Anybody I've investigated with, you can ask, they say, Charlie will wander off in the dark on his own. He'll do what he likes to do. Leave him to it. And this one, mate, I could not get out of there quick enough. And then when she was in the car, it really scared me. Like it was like proper, like, whoa.
Yeah.
Especially after me getting attacked as well. It was like, it just all built up. The adrenaline was going, my nerves were going. And then a couple of weeks later, because we left it, but a couple of weeks later going down there, it was almost like she was in the back of the car taunting me, like as if to say, I'm still here, like. But then
Oh,
it was like after that, never seen it again. Never again. But the couple have bought Pool Park now. They're actually doing it up really nice. They're putting it back to its original state, like so. It'd be interesting if they'd let people go there once it's all done back up.
yeah. Man, you're braver than me, brother. That is for sure. You are braver than me, man. Wow. I'd like to go back to this claw hand that you saw. I
Yeah,
find that very because that doesn't sound, as you were saying, doesn't sound like
doesn't sound human like,
human.
no.
So you
No.
think so? I know you said you possibly think it's that animal
Pet.
creature,
Well,
but
this is it. Like, it's a pet. Um, at the time, the team that we were with believed that there could have been demonics in there, demons in there. A couple of words had come through saying imps.
Mhm.
Uh, so we had that through. Then again, skeptical mind comes into it. Um, so it was a bit of what if it's this, what if it's that? Because I was the very much golden, very much all out there going for it. It was a case of was this thing targeting me or trying to target and come home with me in this, so you're very noisy, you are, lad. Um, sorry about
That's
that.
right.
So yeah, it was whether it was because of the way my persona was, it was all out there. I was exposing myself. I was goading. I was right. Whatever's the year, I'm getting a response from it. Whether that was an attempt of this thing, whatever is there to try and scare me, to back me off. But I carried on walking to it because to me, whatever's there, I want to see it. I
Yeah.
want to know what I'm dealing with. I want to know what I'm coming up against, what I need to do get answers from whatever. But the people behind me, mate, I've never heard people scream on a public event like that before. They screamed like they were like proper, like, Charlie, watch out, screaming. And I said, what's the matter? She said, that claw. I said, yeah, it's all right. It's only a claw. Don't worry about it. But it was like a 5 finger claw, mate. 5 finger claw. It was
Yeah. What
massive. Just
what sort of
completely
color
curved.
was it?
Black.
What's okay?
Black, just pure black. And we had lights on the stairs there. So in the main hall, and in the main hall, there's all shields and spears, like battle weaponry from years ago, like that's still in their artifacts. Um, but yeah, there's so where the stairs is, like, you know, like them safety lights, exit lights. So they were on, so you could physically see where the stairs is because it's on, because you need to see where the steps are.
Yeah.
You can probably see a black clock come round the corner, just right round it. And when I looked through there was nothing there, because it goes on to like a little step, down some steps, then you're on like the top of the balcony, like of the main, like big main hall, and then you go down further steps to get in there. So there was
Yeah.
nowhere for anybody to get away from that quick.
So it was possibly, I don't know, reaching out of a portal or something.
Yeah, unexplainable, mate. But we
That's
all witnessed it.
wild.
It was what I think there was about 12 of us up in that room. So there was 12 of us that seen it. Like,
Yeah, man, that's wild. Charlie, you've shared some incredible experiences, man. I won't keep you too much longer because I know you've got the school run soon. We won't go for two. But have you got any other freaky experiences? Have you shared your freakiest experience, or is there more? Have you had any experiences with UFOs, anything like that? Any cryptids, anything else like that?
I haven't had anything like experience with UFOs or cryptids or anything like that. But an interesting story is my wife's auntie claimed when she was young, she seen a UFO not 200 yards away from my house, above in the sky, above the shop. And her family always make a joke that she got taken and come back as an alien, like, but
Oh
as
wow.
but apparently going back, I think you can find a paper article of it.
Mhm.
Many people on the same night witnessed what she said, because they didn't believe it at first, and then many people seen like this light in the sky and then just shoot off, like, but yeah,
Man.
bit of a strange one.
Did she say how big the UFO was?
Oh, she was only a kid, like, so she said she saw this light in the sky, and it was like a saucer like type of shape, and it just shot off so quick. But then reports of it come out afterwards that they had seen, people had said they witnessed something in the sky, like, so.
Yeah,
But going
interesting.
back to cryptids and that, I've just been recently thinking about doing I want to do, because I want to start filming more for YouTube and stuff like that. With us working full time, we don't really get the chance to go out as much. So, we've only got like the couple of videos on YouTube. So I want to be able to get out there and do a bit more, but I want to go down the route of werewolves.
Yes.
And now
Yes.
I know a lot of people will go werewolves this, but I believe there's a country, not country, in UK, um, down further north, I believe. Is it north or south? I can't remember. But there's been witnesses up to this day, apparently, of big black dogs and
100%, man.
and
Yeah.
werewolves. So I want to venture into that. I wanna bring the paranormal with that.
Hmm.
Uh, so that's something that I've been thinking of. There's also a good friend of ours, Gary. He lives in Essex. Um,
Yeah, my old town, my old place.
he
Yeah.
wants to do the story of King Arthur. So he knows some people where pubs are now like houses, or where apparently King Arthur had stayed, if you like. But it's not King Arthur, is it? The actual story is he was an actual warrior, wasn't he?
Mhm.
But there's different artifacts. So he said to me, "Oh, Charlie, I'd love to do this. I want to do." He said, "I don't even want to be in it." He said, "I'll be your cameraman." He said, "I just want to." I said, "Mate, we'll pull up a time where I can get some time off work. We'll take a couple of weeks and we'll go down. We'll do a documentary, try and get
Yes.
involved into it, and try and do different areas like Cornwall, where try and find out where his last burial, try and build something up and Professor Paranormal into that." But yeah,
Yeah.
going back to cryptics, mate, I'd love to do werewolves down that way. That's my
Yeah.
vampires and werewolves, mate, is
100%,
is
brother. I'm with you.
my kind of buzz. Like, when you watch films and stuff like that, that's my kind of go-to.
Yeah.
So anything like that, I'd love to, like when you see these graves where they've got like the buried gates over them, and people say, oh, it's to keep a vampire in. Very interesting that it would be, but it's not. It's to stop grave robbers.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating to know that it would be, I'd love to. I've always said it. I'd love to meet a vampire.
Yeah. Yeah. You never
Whether
know, man. You could have
you
done.
never know, yeah.
I mean, the claw that you saw, I mean, when you first said it, I'm thinking obviously demon, cryptids, that could be some sort of,
Yeah,
because I think a lot of these things because as you said, a lot of people see dogman, werewolf-like creatures in the UK and around the world. And is there a supernatural element to them? I think so at the moment. That's where I am.
yeah.
I think it is
I
possible
do,
that
I
you could
do, I
have.
do think there's got to be, yeah, there's got to be some type of animal like that out there. Wherever these stories come from,
Mhm.
they can't just
Yeah,
be stories. There's got to have been something many, many years ago that have brought this on.
yeah,
Um, and I know like there's people who made films and stuff, but it's it's a weird one. Like a guy I used to work with, he's well into it. Like he's well into werewolves. Like me, he's always said to me, if you do this, I want to do this. And he's like, go and do that. And he's like 100% werewolves are real. Like he's like proper. Like yeah, they're real. They're there. So it'd be interesting to actually see if you could. But then again, would you want to be there,
yeah,
faced in front of a werewolf in
yeah.
the middle of the forest?
You might not be able to live to tell the tale, that's for sure.
No.
But when you go down that route of looking into this stuff, man, there's a lot there, and there's a lot
Yeah,
of evidence to support it. And you know, to your average person that doesn't look into this stuff, they're like, "What are you talking about, man?"
yeah,
But it's there. I mean, I've got a dogman law in the forest behind me now, and I've experienced some weird stuff that possibly could relate to that. It sounds crazy, but there's something to
you
it,
don't
man.
know, mate. You don't know.
100%. 100%. Bigfoot for me is one of my favorite things, and I
Oh,
think
there's a
that
new show on Discovery. Is it Discovery Plus? I think it is, of a Bigfoot show just not long come out, and mate, there's some credible evidence on there, like
interesting.
some credible, proper
Yeah,
credible evidence there. So just I think it's a guy who's doing it on his own. I'll have to fire. I'm sure it's on Discovery, or was it on Apple TV? I can't remember.
there's so
But
many now, isn't there?
yeah, oh, there's loads, isn't there? I always remember watching. Is it the Sasquatch Brothers?
Yeah,
They're like proper hillbillies in America. They go out
yeah,
every night. Yeah, they
I
were
love it.
brilliant. They were brilliant. They were.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I reckon there's definitely stuff out there like that. There's gotta be,
yeah. There's a lot more to this world, man. That's for
like
sure.
mermaids and stuff. Now you start seeing
Yes.
videos creep up of mermaids, and it's
Yeah.
gotta be something out there.
There's
Uh,
a lot more to this world, man, and the legends and the laws, they're all around the world, and they've always been there. And we've
yeah,
all I find interesting is that they're all pretty similar. Like every country's got Bigfoot, every country's got dogmen,
yeah.
and that's there's something to
They
that. There's
all
a reason.
coincide with each other's stories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Charlie, fascinating stuff, man. I know you've got the school run, so we'll wrap it up now. But can you tell the listeners where they can find you?
Yeah, so we're on Instagram as Midnight Paranormal, Facebook Midnight Paranormal. We're also on YouTube and TikTok, same Midnight Paranormal. Um, if anybody wants to check us out, go on there. We're on there. We're not judgmental. Anybody wants to share any experiences with us, or I have Midnight Paranormal, but then I also have the Paranormal Collective page, the Collective Network page, and Midnight Paranormal Evenings. Now that's for people to come on and share their evidence. They can post their lives on, so they can do stuff, whatever they want to share, by all means, just drop it on and I'll approve it. They can share it there. And we're also now just become part of Antisocial in America. So we've just joined their group now. We've got a streaming platform where we can stream our lives and put our content over there as well.
Awesome, man. Awesome stuff, brother. I'll share the links in the show description so people can find you easily. Thank you so much, man. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
No, it's been a
Hopefully the
pleasure.
first of many conversations. You're always welcome back, man. Keep us
Cheers, pal.
posted.
Appreciate it.
Stay safe. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We're going to be back very soon for more freaky conversations. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you share it. That is a great way to support us. Check out Midnight Paranormal. We'll be back very soon for more. Guys, keep it freaky. Bye for now. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.